Good morning, dear students. Welcome you all for the online session on the subject Science and Technology Section B. In the previous session, we had started with the chapter Energy Flow in an Ecosystem, a chapter related to EVS, environment. We had covered two topics. One is food chain and food web. Today we are going to start with energy pyramid and biogeochemical cycle. Before going ahead for energy pyramid, let us just revise about the trophic levels. The different trophic levels which we had studied were primary consumers, secondary consumers, carnivores and omnivores. The energy pyramid. Now what do you mean by a trophic level? You can see a diagrammatic view over here. This is a representation of a energy pyramid. At the lowest level, you can see the producers. This is nothing but the kingdom of green plants which prepare their own food with the help of sunlight by the process of photosynthesis. After the producers, we have primary consumers or the class of herbivores. Here, herbivores means the consumers which depend directly on autotrophs or producers. After primary consumers, we have secondary consumers or carnivores which consume or use herbivores as their food. Then we have the tertiary consumers or the carnivores which use herbivores as well as carnivores for their food. You can see an example of owl over here. So these are the different levels in the food chain. Last time we had taken an example of food chain which begins with producers. We had taken the example of green grass being consumed by grasshopper. The grasshopper was being eaten by frog. The frog was being eaten by a snake. So everywhere you can see some link was there. So this each level in the food chain is called a trophic level. Each level. Suppose we start with the level of green plants, then the grasshopper. So that is a link. That is every level. So each level in the food chain is called as a trophic level. And a trophic level is the step at which the organism obtains its food in the chain. If we speak about grasshopper, then grasshopper obtains its food from the green plants or eating grass. So the trophic level is the step at which the grasshopper is getting its food in the chain. Chain means we had seen last time it is a link between different levels, and to survive within the link you have to find out for the source of food. Now here you can see the amount of matter and energy gradually decreases from the producers at lowest level to the top consumers at the highest level. What do you mean by this? We had taken up an example last time wherein we had seen in a class a lady peon supplies first child with a packet of chocolates. There are n number of chocolates in the packet. Each child is told to pick up 2 chocolates from the packet and pass the remaining packet to the next consecutive child. The first child picks up 2 chocolates. He passes the packet of chocolates to the next child. Next child will remove 2 chocolates. Then the remaining are passed to the next child. Here in this example, what you can see? The amount of chocolates which the first child was having goes on decreasing when it goes to the next child and it reaches the lowest level when it reaches the final child. If you have followed my example, then you will come to know how the energy goes on decreasing, how the amount of energy goes on decreasing from the producers till it reaches the top level. Now I explain taking this example. See, producers, they prepare their own food by trapping the solar energy. When they prepare the food, some part of the food will be used by them for their growth. The remaining some amount of food they will store for their activities, and the remaining amount of food energy will be supplied to the next level. When any grasshopper or any rabbit is going to eat the green plants, the energy which will be reaching the next level will be low as compared to the energy which was there at the initial stage. When they consume the producers, what happens? They are going to use some part of the energy for carrying out their day-to-day activities. So grasshopper will use for hopping, rabbit will use for running. So for their day-to-day activities, some part of the energy will be utilized. Remaining energy will be passed on to the next level and so on. Means the amount of energy, amount of matter and energy gradually decreases from the producers at the lowest level to the top consumers at the highest level. Hence you can see this diagram in the form of a pyramid which is tapering as you go towards the top. Energy transfer takes place at each tropic level, as I have told you just now, from the producers to the primary consumers, from the primary consumers to the secondary consumers. When they are consuming anything from the previous level, energy transfer is taking place. Chocolates were being transferred from one child to the other. There was no child in the class who said, no, I don't want. Okay, so when anything is consumed, then the energy is automatically transferred. And as you all know, there are different levels of energy exchange in the food chain. So from this example, we have seen that the initial quantity, you can see quantity word is highlighted over here. It is big. The initial quantity of energy goes on decreasing at every level of energy exchange. At every level, the initial quantity of energy goes on becoming lower and lower till it reaches the final, you can say final option or the final level. Here we have a good example of energy exchange in an aquatic ecosystem. Aquatic means in the water, organisms which live in the water. The first one was a level of phytoplanktons which were having 10,000 kilocalories of energy. When zooplanktons went for consuming phytoplanktons, the energy being transferred from the phytoplanktons to the zooplanktons was 1000 kilocalories, which when reached the fishes reduced to 100, and when the humans consumed fishes, the energy was automatically decreased to only about 10 kilocalories. See the amount of decrease from the first level to the last level. Means from different examples, you can go to the Google net and you can find out different examples of energy pyramid. When this type of question is asked in the exam, write a short note on energy pyramid. You can take up an example of any ecosystem. Any example, you can show grass over here, you can show rabbit, then you can show a tiger or something, or fox, and then you can show tiger. Any example you can take, but only the criteria is whatever energy you are showing in the transfer, that energy should go on decreasing. Similarly, the number of organisms also decreases from the lowest level to the highest level. You know, as compared to insects, as compared to plants, as compared to frogs, the number of the number of lions, the number of leopards are less in number. So the number of organisms also decreases from the lowest level to the highest level. And this pattern of energy exchange in an ecosystem is called an energy pyramid or a pyramid of energy. Why pyramid? We have seen just now, because energy level goes on decreasing from the top to the bottom, so it appears like a triangle for us. What happens after the apex consumer they die? Yes, what happens after the death of the apex consumers? The decomposers who depend on the dead bodies of animals for their source of food, energy becomes available to them. Yes, each one of you might be thinking, the teacher has told that up to the apex consumer or the apex level, the energy has reached. But what about the energy after this level? What happens when these organisms die? A tiger dies, a lion dies. After the death of apex consumers, their energy becomes available to decomposers. Who are decomposers? Fungi and other microorganisms. Why the energy becomes available to them? Because from the word itself you come to know decomposers. Decomposers means they decompose, they break down the energy, the complex energy into simple carbon compounds. Why? Because they are in the process of obtaining the food from the remains of these organisms. Their main source of food is obtained, their nutrition is obtained by decomposing the dead bodies of animals. Hence the name, they have derived the name decomposers. What happens when the decomposers, they decompose the dead bodies? They convert the complex energy into carbon compounds which easily mix with the air, water and soil. They can mix in the air, they can mix with the water during the rains and soil automatically, from where they are again absorbed by the plants and incorporated into the food chain. See, when the nutrients, suppose it is in the soil, you know plants grow from the soil, their roots are inside the soil, so automatically the nutrients are absorbed by the plants. Also, if the nutrients are there in the water, they are absorbed by the plants and automatically the nutrients are again back into the food chain. Now, who is the most important factor who is giving the energy in any ecosystem? It is the sun, because we have seen the very initial stage is the stage of producers or green plants, and green plants cannot prepare their own food in the absence of sunlight. Without the sunlight, the green plants will not be able to prepare their food by the process of photosynthesis. So, the sun is the most important source of energy in any ecosystem. Green plants of the ecosystem store some of the solar energy in the form of food. From the lower standards, you know that the green plants are the producers. They are the manufacturers of food by trapping the solar energy. Some of the solar energy which is stored by the plants in the form of food, before this energy reaches the decomposers, this energy is passed on from one trophic level to the next trophic level. From the previous example, we know how the energy is transferred. Now, which energy? Solar energy in the form of what? Food. What will decomposers do? Decomposers will dissipate some amount of energy, that is, decomposers will waste. Decomposers will throw out some amount of energy in the form of heat energy, but no part of the energy ever returns back to the sun. Once sun has delivered the solar energy in the ecosystem, the sun is not so mean that it will again take the energy back. You give any child a pen also, 10 days you will keep asking that child for the pen. But the sun, once it gives the energy to the green plants, to the environment, it will not take the solar energy back. You can see the energy being transferred from one trophic level to the other trophic level to the decomposers, back again in the environment, but no part of the energy ever returns to the sun. Hence, such passage of energy is referred to as one-way transport. those whose parents are driving the vehicles, they know the meaning of one way. The vehicles can travel only in one direction. From the opposite direction, the vehicles are not permitted to travel. Similarly here, the solar energy, once it is transferred from the sun to the earth's surface, it will not be again transferred back. Hence, such passage of energy is referred to as one-way transport. Now, we have seen that the passage of energy, though it is referred to as a one-way transport, but the flow of nutrients in an ecosystem is cyclic. How cyclic? Though the energy flow in an ecosystem is one way, but the flow of nutrients is cyclic. Just now you have seen that the decomposers, after converting the complex food into simple carbon compounds, the nutrients are again absorbed by the plants. So again they are incorporated in the food chain, means this is in a cyclic way. You cannot see it as a one-way transport. So the flow of nutrients is cyclic. All the organisms, all living organisms, they need nutrients for their growth. We as human beings, we get the necessary nutrition from the food which we eat. Similarly, even the green plants, they require food. They prepare their food. Herbivores, they require the food. Means each and every organism, including your decomposers, they need the nutrients for their growth. The cyclical flow of nutrients within an ecosystem is called biogeochemical cycle. Look at the word. The word itself is giving you the meaning. Why the flow of nutrients is called biogeochemical cycle? Bio means life. Here, all the living organisms are playing a role. Geo means related to your earth's surface. You know that the nutrients are dispersed in the air, water and soil, and they are incorporated in the food chain. And chemical means the complex food material was converted into simpler forms, simple carbon compounds, so related to chemicals. So biogeochemical cycle, life, earth surface and different compounds. So together it is called as biogeochemical cycle. You can see the diagram over here. The biosphere, which includes atmosphere, hydrosphere and lithosphere. Now these nutrients which are necessary for the growth and survival of all the living organisms, they are continuously in action within an ecosystem. They are transferred from abiotic to the biotic factors, from the biotic to the abiotic factors. How? Just now we have taken the example of decomposers. Decomposers क्या कर रहे हैं? The nutrients they are sending in the water, air or soil. Means decomposers are living organisms. So it is transferred from biotic to abiotic factors. Whereas from the air, water or soil, when the plants are taking up and incorporating in the food chain, it is transferred from the abiotic to the biotic factors. This biogeochemical cycle, it operates continuously through the medium of biosphere, which is formed from atmosphere, hydrosphere and lithosphere. This cycle is continuously in progress. You know how the nature works. Each and every factor which is decided by the nature, constantly it works. The recycling of biological, geological and chemical sources of nutrients in this process is a complex process, and it depends on what the level of energy transfer in an ecosystem. Nowadays, you know, most of the human activities, they have brought about some changes in the balance of the biogeochemical cycle due to the many activities, human activities like cutting down of the forest, hunting animals, due to which the normal cycle is affected. So each and every factor, that is why you know what we are suffering from. We are suffering from the hole in the ozone layer, or the natural calamities like earthquakes or floods which occur. in some places there is no rainfall. So this is all because of the changes in this cycle which are created by human beings. Now this biogeochemical cycle are of two types. One is gaseous cycle and one is sedimentary cycle. We will see one by one what it means. What do you mean by the word gaseous? Gaseous means accumulation of the abiotic gaseous nutrients which are found in the Earth's crust, the Earth's atmosphere. And accumulation of the main abiotic gaseous nutrient materials is found in the Earth's atmosphere. And sedimentary means, you have studied in geography, and accumulation of the main abiotic nutrient materials is found where? In the soil, sediment and sedimentary rocks of the Earth. So word itself, it tells you gaseous and sedimentary. What do the gaseous cycle include? They include various gases like nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide and even water vapor. Whereas sedimentary cycle, it includes the soil components, the nutrients from the soil in the form of different minerals like iron, phosphorus, calcium, etc. And who provides the soil with these nutrients? When we add some nutritional supplements, we are supplying the soil with different types of components which are required for the growth of the plants. Now as compared to this sedimentary cycle, the gaseous cycle is a more speedier one. Why? Because any gas which has accumulated in an area, as compared to the movement of the sedimentary cycle, the components of sedimentary cycle, it will be dispersed away very quickly. I have taken up an example here. See, if carbon dioxide has accumulated in any area, it is quickly dispersed with the wind or it is absorbed by the plants as compared to the components of sedimentary cycle. But as I have told you, climatic changes, natural or brought about by the activities of human beings and human activities like cutting of the forest, deforestation, or what you can say, hunting of the animals for their own hobbies, they seriously affect the speed, intensity and equilibrium of this normal functioning of the cycles, and hence our entire nature, entire world, you can say, the main theme of the world is in danger. Why? Because we the human beings have spoiled the natural functioning of these cycles. The cycle of gases and the sedimentary cycle cannot be completely separated from each other. If you take an example of algebra and geometry or science 1 and science 2, even if both the subjects are different, but still you cannot completely separate the subjects from each other. Just now you take an example. We are studying science 2. We are studying a topic from science 2. But you can see here you have taken different examples. Nitrogen, oxygen, iron, calcium. These are all related to science 1. So as you cannot separate the science 1 and science 2 completely like algebra and geometry, here also sedimentary cycle and the cycle of gases, although they may be different, their functioning may be different in the environment, you cannot completely separate them from each other. I have taken up an example. Nitrogen is present in the form of a gas in the atmosphere, so related to gaseous cycle, and also you can see in the form of compounds like nitrogen oxide in the soil and sediments. So again it is related to sedimentary cycle. Similarly, carbon, it occurs in abiotic form, mainly in coal, granite, diamond, limestone. We have one chapter ahead. There you will be coming to know how carbon occurs in different forms in the Earth's crust, and also in the form of gaseous cycle you will find in the form of carbon dioxide gas. So you can see the elements, different elements, they are present in both the cycles in their different forms. So even though both the cycles are to be studied separately, you cannot completely separate them from each other. Generally, carbon is present in plants and animals for a much shorter duration than it is present in coal. So, from these examples, what you can study is the balance of these cycles, whether it is your gaseous cycle, whether it is your sedimentary cycle, the balance of these cycles, we have to maintain them. How? We have to, now the time has really come, children. You can see now we are under the attack of pandemic COVID-19. Similarly, in some places you can see earthquakes are taking place. At the same time, now today we can say that we are falling short of proper rainfall. So all these things we only human beings have created. We only are responsible. You will tell, teacher, how we are very small. Not only you, but your previous generation, your ancestors, they tried to attack the land, more and more land they wanted for industrialization, they wanted for building dams, and in doing so they have harmed, they have altered the nature to such an extent that now the nature has taken completely in its hands and we are the sufferers. So at least what is your stand, what you should do, small things you all can stop. While coming here and there, don't remove the trees or the flowers from the trees. Let them blossom. Let them be their place. They look good on the trees only. Okay, try to plant trees. Now you are at home. Small things this you all can do. In your house also, small pots or something you might be having. Plant small trees. And when it grows, then you can just put it back in the environment. Okay, so by adopting small techniques, when you are eating some chocolates or something, don't throw the plastic wrappers and all. You put it in your pocket. When you come at home, then throw it in the dustbin. With small techniques also you all adopt, you can save the equilibrium of these cycles. And automatically what will happen, now you are hearing, you might have heard also, in between we were having complete lockdown, and at that time the environment was getting pollution free. The Ganga waters and also was becoming pure. We only human beings, we are having all that myths in mind that by bathing in the Ganga water and all we become pure. No, we become pure only by doing good deeds. So how you can do this good deeds? By helping the nature, by helping each other. Okay, so here we end with the topic for today. We have completed energy pyramid and biogeochemical cycle. In our next session, we are going to study the 3 different types of cycles. One is the carbon cycle, the oxygen cycle, and the nitrogen cycle. Till then, you have to keep reading the textbook every now and then, especially in science and technology textbook. Read page number 85, 86 and 87 before we proceed for our next session. Stay at home, stay safe, keep completing your notebooks time to time. Thank you, dear children.